This Buddy Webb, Midland, Texas. It's July 12, 2017. I want to do a short video today, and what I'm going to focus on is a timeline of events, and I want to make it fact-based, and so show you some evidence, some documentation, police reports, security camera pictures, and then put a timeline on it, and then I want you to follow along, and I think once we're done, it'll be real clear to see that this group of secret police was involved in a premeditated capital murder attempt. And that's most likely the reason that nobody wants to identify them, because they truly would be looking at life sentences once rule of law is followed. And rule of law has to be followed. I mean, that's all there is to it. They made a choice to cover up a capital attempted murder, and there's consequences for it. And for if you did it, there's consequences. They'd send you to prison, I promise you, and they'd send me to prison. And these guys, I believe they're probably bribed, working for somebody else, maybe promised promotion from the chief or something. You know, who knows for what reason they decided to enter a life of crime. They did. And I'm going to show you that. Not Buddy said, the evidence shows. So what I'm going to do is flip this around, and we're going to look at this evidence, and then I'm going to talk about it. Here we go. Hold on. Okay, what I got here, I created just a small document. So I've got these time stamped because I want to go in order that things happen. And this it's really important so you'll have an idea. And starting at the top, this is not all the crimes. This ain't saying when the crime started. It's possibly even before I moved here. And but this is the ones that I've got today, okay? And starting with October 12, 2008, the previous homeowner, Mike Lawhon, dies. A neighbor's document is saying he died in his home, but his death certificate says he died in Fort Worth, okay? That previous homeowner was Mike Lawhon. He was 27 years old. He had 2 little boys, and his death certificate says he died at his mom's house, Sue Tennis, who used to live here in Midland and I believe worked for Clayton Williams. And this is his sister, Susan Magana. This is his obituary, of course. And the neighbor lived directly across the street, Marilyn DeLuigi, a nurse I consider a credible witness, told me 2 different times that Mr. Lawhon had died in this home before I moved here. And one time she said, I should know, right? And she was very serious. But you will see that his death certificate says that he died in Fort Worth here at 4379 Hulan Circle, Fort Worth. That was his mom's apartment or whatever. Okay, so he died of this rare poisoning, acute proxaphene, whatever. Okay, the Odessa American posted on 10/14, he died on the 12th. They posted on 14th, he died in Fort Worth. But then they changed it on the 18th and said he died at his residence here in Midland. Now, why did they change that 4 days later? And who called them up to say, hey, don't say he died in Fort Worth. Let's say he died in Midland. Well, I believe the reason that is because he did die here, as Marilyn DeLuigi said he did, and there was witnesses like her, and that's why it was changed. So there's a big clue. Whoever called them, somebody at Odessa American, right here on the death of Mike Lawhon. So I believe that the same group tried to murder me, but was most likely involved in the murder of Mike Lawhon, who died here at this home. Okay, so moving on. On November 9, 2010, this is 2 years later, okay? I moved in, single, working all the time in the oil field, busy, and I make my first call to the police for a burglary, okay? This is that call. It was at 12 o'clock on November 9th, okay? And I believe we found the sliding glass door open, okay? I come home, there's a long story about that. The 2 police officers were A. Corson, Stephen Truex, come to my house, and immediately I was called compliant, possibly 1096. Here I am, a 25-year company man, never had a felony. I have a burglary to my home, and these police come to my home and call me crazy automatically. Possibly is what it said. That was on the very first police report in 2010. Okay. Now, on December 7th, 2011, this is of course the next year. My mom dies, and I figure out that I was lied to, which I reported to the Hobbs Police Department. Okay. And so here's my mom's obituary. Mom was sick, and I'm not saying she wasn't sick, but but there's a longer story that goes with how I figured out that I was lied to, and what happened on the day that she died. At the same time, I'm having people break in my home, and I've been calling the police and trying to stop these criminals that are stealing from me and terrorizing me in my home and threatening my life, because they later shot me the next month. I was shot next month after my mom died, after I notified the Hobbs Police Department and the Lee County Sheriff's Department of the inconsistencies of the story that I was told concerning my mom's death. Okay, possibly we're going to find out my mom's death is connected somehow to the crimes here in Midland. Okay, so that's December 7th, and I just want to get you, boom, 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 here's what happened, okay? 2008, Mike Walheim dies. 2010, first burglary. December 7, 2011, my mom dies under suspicious circumstances, okay? On December 20th, 2011, the police are called here in my house. I was told the Midland police were creating a document trail on me. Okay, here's a police report on that, and here's the incident number, the timestamp, all that. And someone has been getting into the house. Okay, that's what I kept telling them. Blake Bush, Trent Sellers come over, and what they did is one of them handcuffed me and took me and put me in the back of a car. Had a bag of marijuana laying in the seat already. I believe they were threatening to frame me. That was my, that's the feeling I got. And then I was told, we better not be called over here again for this stuff. And this stuff was my calls to the police for burglaries of my house that I believe was connected with prostitution. I get back into my home, and then I'm told, we're creating a document trail on you. The police are. We're more than one person creating a document trail on you. Interestingly, I found on the same police report from 2011 that just minutes after I'm shot and crawled out at 11:31, I'm documenting crawling out at 10:42, some unknown police officer puts an XREF, a cross-reference, to this police report. I believe that is the document trail that was pre-planned to cover up my murder. It looks like some corrupt police were planning my murder weeks in advance, okay? That's what it looks like to me. And so if we figure out who did that, we might find the smoking gun, find out who shot me, and maybe who murdered Mike Lawhon. Okay. And so December 30th, I go through a separation after a 3-month marriage, okay? My life insurance booklets are taken from my home, and I didn't know this, okay? And basically, this is showing what my beneficiaries get. I had 4 beneficiaries. I had the spouse of 3 months, and I had my 3 kids. And she was going to get half, plus she was going to get the house plus half of everything, and then my kids get split the other half. I was told in Texas that life insurance, though, all of it goes to the spouse. A guy recently told me that in Texas, that regardless of the beneficiaries, the life insurance would go to the spouse. So which would mean that it wouldn't matter my beneficiary assignments, because she would end up getting all of it. And that's what I sold. But either way, right before I'm shot, less than a month before I'm shot, my life insurance booklets are taken from my home. I didn't know that at the time, though. Okay. And when I found that out, they were brought back to me with filled out divorce papers, and I filed for divorce on the 23rd. Excuse me, there, I'm coughing. And so here I am crawling out, 10:42. The reason I crawled out and I didn't call the police is because my phone lines were cut. They tried to kill me in my home. Interesting, on the video, you see the lights on my company car go off. I was crawling out, I screamed for help, the lights go off on my car. Somebody was sitting in my car right after I shot. They'd cut my phone lines, shot me from the ground, and this is 2 weeks after I'd reported a suspected tunnel to the DEA. Somebody come up from the tunnel, trapdoor, shot me, I ambushed, didn't know it, and there I am crawling out. Okay, timestamp, evidence, okay. First 2 secret police are seen on camera, on video, showing up. That's a police car. Spotlight on it. Here's the second one. It's an unmarked police car. Time stamped. 11:01. I crawled at 10:42. My attorney subpoenaed the records. They were not dispatched. The sheriff's been asked. The chief of police been asked. The governor's been asked. The district attorney's been asked. Everybody's been asked. Posted on Facebook over and over. Nobody can tell me who these guys are. And you're going to see in a minute, the first thing they did was disable the cameras on the front of my house. So somehow they knew I had just survived a capital murder attempt. What does that mean? That means they're involved in a capital murder attempt. I wondered if one of these guys is the late Sheriff Deputy Mike Naylor. Okay, and I've asked the sheriff that, and because he did not answer the question, it furthered my belief that that's who it was. And then it makes you wonder if Mike Naylor's death is involved, his involvement here at my home on the capital murder attempt on my life. Okay. And so what we see on the evidence, we're evidence-based. At 11:22, they got here at 11:01. At 11:22, they had rotated this camera to look at the house. That's the same camera, okay, channel 3, looking at the yard, now looking at the house. They went around and they rotated my cameras to disable my cameras. So now we know what the first two secret police in tan uniforms were doing here. They were called here to disable the cameras because we're going to see later a group of police sneak in the house, steal evidence, stage a crime scene of a capital murder attempt. Okay, and so there's the video proof right there that the secret police disabled the cameras. Okay, and so that ought to show enough intent they're involved in this murder attempt. Also, timestamp, the nurse, Kiara Cresswell, emergency room nurse. She documents me. These are from the nurse's notes, the medical records, okay? Patient said there are sirens going off. The alarms kept going off. They kept setting my burglar alarms off in my house. I knew I was under home invasion. I was shot during a home invasion. This is a capital murder attempt. I'm home minding my own business. They loaded their guns, come to my home, pointed at me, pulled the trigger. These are cold-blooded killers, and they're backed up with a secret police gang. Okay. Also at 12:03 the next day, 1:29, which is just a few minutes later, 1:29, 12:03, the nurse documents me saying I was talking on a white voice recorder in case something happens to me and saying what they were doing in my house. I have proof. Just go look there as proof. Okay. Officer April Chandler is documenting in an internal document she wrote she found this proof or this voice recorder. Okay, she lied on the police report, said she checked it into evidence, but it's not in evidence. So proof that I had told the police department about was at my home, proof of a capital murder attempt they stole. That's what happened. Okay, and then also documented at 12:03, Detective Rodriguez has patient's necklace. The stage is going to give it to his brother. Here's her badge number. Detective Rodriguez was in the room when I said there was proof. There's proof that she knew that the detective. What we're going to see is Detective Rodriguez is one of the secret police that came sneaking my house. And what happened is they found out from me evidence of this murder attempt was at my home. So they come in, tried to disable the cameras, but accidentally started and got caught in my house, sneaking in to steal evidence to cover up this murder attempt. And then they call me crazy. What's crazy is participating in a capital attempted murder. Okay. And so, back onto the evidence, okay. This right here is called the Windows event log, okay. It's from your computer log file security. And what it's saying is this computer that was running my inside security camera was user initiated log off. It was manually rebooted at 1/29/2012 at 3:15 a.m. Okay. Now remember at 12:03, I said proof is at my house. Well, at my house at 3:15, my computer's rebooted. My computer running the camera. Okay. So there was an attempt to disable the camera at 3:15. Okay. Timestamps are important. 3:15. Okay. Because here at 3:38, we start seeing pictures of secret police. Actually, a little bit earlier than that. I'll only put a few of the secret police pictures. But this guy is wearing a Midland K9 police jacket. Okay, that's when you zoom in, that's pretty clear. Well, that's really interesting because in 2014, December 15th, 2014, a Midland K9 police officer murdered his wife and killed himself. And I keep hearing this lie all over town of, oh, she was having an affair on him. And I believe 100% that lie was made up to cover up the fact that the reason that she's dead is because he got caught in my house in a murder attempt on my life. And of course, I don't have absolute confirmation that murderer is this guy that's involved in the murder attempt in my life, but it makes sense. And I've asked the chief and he didn't reply. I've asked the sheriff and he didn't reply. Is this Chad Simpson that murdered his wife? Okay, that's important. This is Sandra Simpson. She was a nurse, okay? She's dead. Murder-suicide. That means that she didn't get a choice, right? She was the murder victim. She was a victim. The suicide guy, he had a choice. He made the choice himself. He killed himself, right? But she didn't get a choice. Her life was taken from her, and two little kids now are orphans thanks to her murderer. And I believe her murderer is this guy that was caught in my house that should have been arrested when these pictures come out. a little passionate, but you say wrong. 3:45 a.m., 129. Keep in mind, the police report shows that no police were at my house. So these are secret police. Officially, they're not in my house. Officially, they're not police, okay? But I believe they are because I already compared. There's two of them that are recognized. And one of them is April Chandler, this one right here. She has her hand in a bag, okay? Remember, she's the one that documented with the stolen evidence. The last person to have the stolen voice recorder, I said, was proof of a murder attempt. And I bet her hands in the bag with proof of the murder attempt in there, right there. Okay, here she is, and this right here, you can't see it, but it is Rosie Rodriguez with the camera. So she's documenting their crimes. Okay, here, and we already seen this. Cresswell at 12:03 documents me saying there's proof at my house. April Chandler on an internal police report. This isn't the official police report that said they were not in my house. I mean, I'll show you that in a minute. But she says, we found a .22 rifle gun and found the voice recorder from the closet where I said it was. Checked into evidence, logged into evidence. But here's the evidence log. It wasn't there. There's the rifle and the pistol she talked about. But what's missing is the voice recorder. And the person that did that was Matthew Davis. So possibly she gave it to Matthew Davis, her boss, and said, here's the evidence, and he stole it, and then he quit the police force. That's real possible. And this guy might be from Hobbs, I think from my hometown of Hobbs. And also Mike Nader's from Odd, Chad Simpson from Hobbs, Sandra Simpson from Hobbs. If y'all seeing a pattern here, Teresa Klingman, the district attorney, was from Hobbs, okay? Lots of people from Hobbs. This picture here at 3:55 a.m. when the police are not in my house, minutes after they tried to disable my camera, she's leaned over this nightstand. That's where I found my cell phone. My cell phone had mysteriously disappeared before I shot, and then my home phone line was dead when I tried to use it after being shot. And then when I get back out of the hospital, I find it behind that nightstand, but I find her leaned over the nightstand. It looks like she was putting my cell phone behind that nightstand is what it looks like to me. And she ain't even in my house. This is Rosie Rodriguez. This one right here is April Chandler. See the women's hand carrying the booty bag where she breaks into homes and steals property from crime victims. Okay. And then the last picture I'm going to show, 3:55, is April Chandler decided she going to search my drawers, you know. And I don't know why she wanted it in my drawers, you know, because they had to know that this was a murder attempt and the killer wasn't in my drawers, right? But what I think they might have been looking for was a tape recording I made from the 2010 old show party from a woman that told me about a girl being murdered there for refusing to prostitute while police were present. And I suspect the secret police were the police that were present when that girl was raped and murdered at the 2010 oil show party that I think happened in underground facilities by this house from where I was shot from, okay? Because I shot from underground 2 weeks after reporting a suspected tunnel to the DEA, okay? And I kind of got ahead, and, you know, I'm just going off here. I want to show you because it's fact, you know, I don't want you to go, Buddy said that the police report said nobody was there. I want to show you the police report to show nobody was there. 1:29:12. The only entry happened the next day at 7:02 p.m. The next day. All the secret police in my house between 3 and 4 a.m. Okay? So here's the police report. This is the incident report. No police at my house. The next day, they make a test only for PW. My guess is they're tapping my phones, okay? Because they want to monitor the crime victim to see if he's going to catch them as they're involved in a capital attempted murder, okay? That's my guess. Okay. And then the next day, okay? So 1:28, late at night, I'm shot. 1:29, I'm going proofs at my house. 1:29, they're caught sneaking in my house, selling the proof. And the very next morning on 1:30, April Chandler, okay, secret police April Chandler, that was caught in my house, still in evidence, makes a permanent, reoccurring comment on every single police report that comes up. I've seen this over 10 times. Paranoid schizophrenic Buddy Webb. Never been diagnosed with that in my life, okay? I was 28-year company man, never had a felony when I'm shot and left for dead in my house after calling the police, the Texas Rangers, the FBI, and reporting these burglaries in my home. And I believe they're involved in the murder of the guy before me. This is a lie. Life-ruining lie is what that is. Okay. And let's don't forget the evidence, because the evidence is clear. I didn't shoot myself. Here's the size of pellets that were removed from my foot. 0.3, which goes to 3.05, and what that goes to is a size 5 pellet. Well, here's my ammunition with a 7.5 pellet. I was not shot with my gun, and that's only one little piece of evidence. That's not my word. That's ballistic, hard evidence that can be taken into court. It sends people to prison. Ballistic evidence sends people to prison, or it clears them. And in this case, it proves I wasn't shot with my own gun, as them lying police tried to claim. The ones that sneaked into my house, stole evidence, and lied on police reports. Okay, here we go. The entrance and exit wound shows you the gun was level, 2 inches off ground. Boom. Here's the entrance. The gunshot went here. It tells you the level was the gun. So they were below ground level. Remember, 2 weeks earlier, I reported a tunnel to the DEA. They were below, waiting for me to walk by, and pulled the trigger. That's what happened. And then I found my phone lines cut and crawled out. Okay. And then 3 days later, old Rosie Rodriguez comes up to the hospital and has me sign a consent to search form, pretending that they were going to go to my house and start the investigation. Well, I had no reason. I wondered why they waited for so long, and I had no idea they'd already been in my house, stealing evidence, staging the crime scene, etc. Okay, and so these pictures are from the same security camera, dated February 1st, and it is the legal entry, the only known entry, and you can go back and compare the pictures. This is Rosie Rodriguez, Detective Rosie Rodriguez. That's the same secret police that was in my home. That's how I know. Not because of the police report, because I looked at the pictures and go, wait a minute, she was in my home on 129. That same person. That's the person that met me at the 7-Eleven when I crawled out minutes after I got shot and then lied on the police report, said she wasn't there. And look here, she's pointing up at the security screen. That's where that tree is over there behind the wall behind Home Depot, where that tree was taken out, where the side-by-side tunnels are. That's where I believe one of the tunnel entrances was, and that was coming over this house. And I have videos called Human Trafficking Tunnel. Go look at that. That's where she's pointing at, right? I believe 100%, I believe she knew the crimes were going on. She knew the felonies were going on. She knew the theft of services, the burglary of habitation, the terrorism, the stalking, the hacking, the defamation of character, and then even the capital murder attempt. She knew it all. I bet she knew about the life insurance booklets, and maybe she was planning on getting some of that money. And what we're going to find out is she was childhood friends with the person was the primary beneficiary. Yeah, now it's making sense, ain't it? Okay. So one other picture here. Searching drawers. Now, the reason I do this is February 1st, 1047. He's searching the same drawers April Chandler was in. Now, does that seem odd to you, right? I want to make that point. Searching drawers here too, okay? So they're searching the same drawers twice. This was Bomb Squad guy, and so the question is, did he know that there was no reason for them to be in my home anyway, right? Because this was a capital attempted murder. They should have been arresting the secret police. Did he know that? Was he played as a patsy, or was he a part of the capital attempted murder? Was he a witness, or was he an accessory? But either way, he's caught searching my drawers. Okay, it's a guy with glasses too. Okay. Another timestamp piece of evidence. Barrett, crime scene investigator Tony Marty Barrett. I think he ended up becoming a supervisor of the crime scene investigation unit, Midland Police Department. He stated in an internal narrative on an information report that he went to my house on 12910. Now remember, the police report shows nobody was at my house. Okay, so automatically the guy that is supposed to ensure the integrity of the evidence, right, is in my house and saying he's in my house when the police report says he's not. Do you see the problem there? So then we have to go back and question every piece of evidence this guy ever touched for every case, every murder, every rape, every robbery, because his integrity is at question. Okay? And so then he says, I received evidence from Officer Chandler. He went to my home. Okay, so, and he picked up my shotgun. Okay, the shotgun had proven that I wasn't shot with, but they said I was shot with. Okay, so we see that at 128. 8 days later, he checks it in as evidence. Does that seem weird? Let me put that one more time. He picked it up on 129 when he at my home, when supposedly nobody's at my home. So he himself said he had it. Okay, a shotgun that I wasn't even shot with, but they're saying I was. And he kept it in his personal possession for 8 days before checking it into evidence. Okay? Every single case he ever worked on, we need to go back, because right here, this man has no integrity. I'm telling you, that man has no integrity. In my opinion, that he was tampering with evidence in the capital attempted murder of my life. I also read that he's sick and he has my prayers, and I hope he tries to make this right before God before something happens to him and he has to go up to and answer to God and says, were you involved in trying to kill Buddy Webb? Did you make amends for that? Did you admit to doing that? Has my prayers. Remember the consent to search form that Rosie Rodriguez had me sign on February 1st? She didn't check it in until almost 5 months later. She was going to, and I got a feeling she was going to keep it forever, except that I found them pictures of them security camera pictures started posted on Facebook. And then they're like, whoa, what do I do now? Oh no, we got caught in a capital attempted murder for money, right? I better check them in. So she checked it in 5 months later. Okay, consent to search form, 6/25, June 25th, 2012. Now, okay. And then I went to court in 2013, and this question was asked, do you know the primary beneficiary? And Rosie Rodriguez said, yes, ma'am. How do you know her? I know her. We went to school, I guess elementary and junior high. A lifelong childhood friend. Primary beneficiary took my life insurance booklets before the secret police sneaked into my house and stole evidence to cover up the murder attempt on my life. Okay. I tried to keep that facts-based, and I think I did. And it should lay the case out for the district attorney to press charges. We need to get the secret police identified. As it looks like one of them went on and murdered somebody else, right? And that's the one we know about. They never planned on getting caught. They tried to disable the camera. They probably done this 10 times, 50 times. Who knows how many people are dead that they called an accident, that they sneaked into the house and they stole evidence or whatever. And that don't even include all the medical stuff. And this is fact-based. We've got to get the secret police identified. This is the timeline of events. You can refer to this. This is court-ready evidence. We need the FBI. We need the Texas Ranger. We need every law enforcement on board. We're getting these criminals stopped. They're breaking in homes and murdering people in their home for money. Buddy Webb, Midland, Texas.